praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Ruach Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and apostles who taught us this truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, which would be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and according to prophecy. But the elect would be 1/3 of the Israelites who will return back to the Most High during the last days, which is right now, to receive salvation. By the 2/3 of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High, be destroyed in judgment. We back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah. And this lesson is going to be titled The Growing Food Crisis. The Growing Food Crisis. Yeah, because we're in the midst of a food crisis right now, although most of America don't know it yet. And the food crisis, that's Bible prophecy. It's referred to as a famine. So the famine is growing right here, right now in America. And how? Because the food supply is being attacked. Remember, a few years back, you had all of the food distribution companies and warehouses and chicken farms blowing up or burning down. Now you got a recall every day, or multiple recalls happening per day. Not to mention, you got these different organizations that oversee the quality and the safety of the food, they being closed down too. So for starters, and shout out to my mom for sending these articles my way. This will be the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, suspends key milk safety program. What does this mean for you? The FDA has suspended a quality control program for testing milk and dairy products, which we shouldn't be eating dairy anyway. The program is paused due to reduced lab capacity. You could thank Elon Musk for that. It is unclear when it will resume. They're not coming back. Not to mention, these people lost their jobs. While the weakened oversight is concerning, the food safety expert said our milk and dairy is still safe to consume, and that's just for right now. There's been other layoffs and job terminations, from different departments in the FDA and the CDC. So, the quality and the testing of the food is about to drop. So that means what? The food may pose more health risk by unsafe foods being missed. But we're going to get to this next article. It says, Esau, man. More than 40,000 cartons of ice cream were just recalled in 4 states. Yeah, 40,000 cartons of ice cream. America loved them some ice cream. The inclusion of both wheat and soy, which are not declared on the product labels, prompted the recall. For individuals with these food allergies, their systems recognize either wheat or soy as an invader, similar to a final product that's making its way into the final product. You're going to see this some more. But what's the result? 40,000 cartons of ice cream being removed from the shelves. So, empty shelves in your grocery stores. Now let's get this next article. And these articles are dated from like the second half of April to the beginning half of May 2025. Ready to eat meat and poultry recalled after consumer complaints about taste and color. And we should not be eating ready to eat meat. Your bolognas and lunch meats that you get from the deli, we should be cooking our own meat at least. Doing pre-made salads with chicken. You know you can't trust these people to cook meat. So yeah, ready to eat meat and poultry recalled after consumer complaints about taste and color. Let's get into it. A New York company has recalled nearly 19,000 pounds of ready to eat sausage and sliced meat and poultry products after sodium nitrate levels exceeded the regulatory limit. 19,000 pounds of meat removed from the grocery stores is the end result, and that's what? That's the growing famine. There's an attack on the food supply. There's no way as advanced as America's supposed to be, as advanced as their technology supposed to be, that all of these mistakes are happening when it comes to the food supply. As far as the testing, the quality, the limits, ingredients making its way into it that's not supposed to be there. There's no way this should be happening as advanced as America supposed to be. Supposed to be the number one country in the world, right? The growing famine, the growing food crisis. Let's get this in Ezekiel 5 and 16. Will not shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for the destruction, in which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and it will break your staff of bread. It's happening right now, the evil arrows of famine. And what's the thing about an arrow? It's silent. You don't see it, but you feel it. You didn't see it or hear it, but now you're bleeding. That's the same case with the food supply. People don't look at these food recalls. They don't pay these food recalls no mind. That's that American pride. They just trust and believe that America is always going to have food on the shelves. But that's what the Lord said. It's the evil arrows of famine. There's a silent war on our food supply right now. People don't see it, don't hear it, but they're going to feel the effects of it. Grocery store shelves could become more and more empty. Food items, certain food items, you won't find no more. So again, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, that's happening right now. And then when you get hit by an arrow, you bleed gradually. You may not know you've been hit by it until you done lost too much blood. Now you feel the effects of it. Same with America. They ain't gonna know there's a war on the food supply until damn near half the grocery store is empty. Then people gonna realize something is up. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for the destruction. So this famine is for your destruction. America say that it's about control, etc., etc. I mean, yeah, it's about control, but really it's for your destruction. Esau ain't trying to control the masses of the people. He has a depopulation agenda. He wants to exterminate you people, especially the 12 tribes, so-called Latinos, Negroes, Native American, Seminole Indians. So the reason for the famine is past control. It's about extermination. Because Esau, Edom, the white man, don't need us. He got robots, AI technology. Not to mention, I just know this devil is taking all the food into them underground bunkers. Yeah, the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for the destruction, in which I will send to destroy you, including you Israelites. We done ran the numbers before. We'll do it again on another lesson. Hey, but tens of millions of Israelites gonna die in this famine. It said one third of our people who die gonna die by the famine and the pestilence. And now we increase the famine upon you. The famine is increasing. That's like you getting hit by an arrow and you gradually bleed out more and more. Our food, well, not our, this ain't my country, but the American food supply is being bled out slowly, and will break your staff of bread. That goes to this whole support system, from the grocery stores, um, the food distribution companies, the semi trucks. That's why the port's empty right now. He's breaking the staff of bread. So we gonna get, what the hell is this, man? We gonna get this nigga Esau, bro. Popular grocery recalls salad sold in 18 states. So the salad ain't even safe. And then if your salad look like this, you shouldn't be eating it anyway. It got pre-made and pre-cooked meats all over it. And just so happened Trader Joe's is recalling its sesame salmon salad due to undeclared milk. So dairy made its way to the salad, yet dairy is not in the ingredients list. So called to be making these simple mistakes. But what's the result? That's pre-made salads being removed from the shelves. While that closed, we're gonna get this title. Bread recalled due to possible glass fragments on the crust. So you got glass on the crust. Yet America will brag about being the number one country. I bet you none of these third world countries got glass in their bread. I bet you none of these third world countries got all these food recalls. Maryland-based company Upper Crust is voluntarily recalling 3 types of bread because the fragments of glass were found on top of the bread. Partially baked, frozen bread, baked products, including pizza dough, and fully baked breads, got glass in it. Now we get into some numbers. The recall covers 89 cases of frozen ancient grains hoagie rolls, 699 cases of frozen multi-grain sourdough, and 30 cases of whole grain bread. So hundreds of cases of bread, from fresh bread to frozen bread, being removed from the stores. There go your sandwiches, the pizzas, etc. Now here go another one. The biggest marinara sauce recalls in U.S. history. So the biggest recalls in history are happening right now. Now the marinara sauce is being attacked. And we best believe they taking it underground. Now let's see if we can get into some numbers. Yet for some sauce manufacturers, the quick and convenient becomes complicated when their products get recalled. Food recalls have infiltrated just about every aisle of the supermarket at one time or another. Yeah, there's a food recall on every aisle in your supermarket, whether you know it or not. Okay, here we go. The biggest marinara sauce recalls have fallen under 2 of the most common issues processed foods fall victim to: undeclared ingredients and foreign material contaminations. Foreign material contaminations can be anything, it can even be feces. Now I'm trying to see if we can get into some numbers. Ain't that a Ain't that about a so this marinara sauce that got removed, there's milk in it. Why is there milk in marinara sauce? And it said a recall of 304 cases of marinara sauce. Mislabeled marinara sauce to one customer in Virginia. Nonetheless, the recall quantity totaled 2,793 pounds. So hundreds of cases and thousands of pounds of marinara sauce removed from the shelves. So, your lasagnas, spaghettis, pretty much soon you're not going to have it that much longer. And what was that? The biggest marinara recall in history. Now let's follow that trend. The biggest potato recall in U.S. history. Yeah, that's not by coincidence because what we're approaching is going to be the biggest famine in American history, the worst famine in existence, about to happen right here in America. So you had the biggest recall in history on the marinara sauce. Now the biggest recall in U.S. history on the potatoes. America love them some potatoes. So let's see if we can see what's happening. Then let's see if we can get some numbers. Then the two things we want. Esau. Um, the recall dealt specifically with the brands broccoli cheddar breakfast potato bakes. Shouldn't be eating that neither. Which are being called over suspected contamination from Listeria monocytogenes. The pathogen is particularly dangerous to perishable foods because it can survive in cold, even freezing, temperatures for prolonged periods of time. After the recall announcement, veggies made great began pulling boxes off the store shelves. Now we're about to get into some numbers. The quantity of recalled broccoli cheddar breakfast potato bakes was significant, 10,544 boxes in all. So tens of thousands of boxes of pre-baked broccoli cheddar breakfast potato bakes pulled from the shelves over Listeria. There you go. Here go another one. But yeah, what's the result? Food missing in the grocery store. Now, let's get this next one. Fresh tomatoes recalled due to salmonella risk. These are the plagues of Egypt. We ain't got to get nothing there. But yes, salmonella risk on the tomatoes. Check this out. Cans of beans sold in large grocers in dozens of states, including Ohio, recalled. Cans of beans being recalled. Let's see if we can get the reason for the recall, and let's see if we can get some numbers. Vietti Food Group issued a recall report through the FDA on May 2nd after learning that the product Yellowstone brown sugar molasses baked beans contained undeclared soy, posing a potential risk to those with soy allergies and sensitivities. But it said in dozens of states. So it could be 20, 30, 40 states having a recall on canned beans. So I think it's going to be the last one. And there's many more, but this is just what we got. Check your fridge. Coca-Cola has recalled nearly 900 cases of its soda. And I wonder how many Coca-Colas is in each case. Okay, FDA Select cans of Coca-Cola original taste have been voluntarily recalled due to the presence of a foreign object, specifically plastic. Yup, nearly 900 cases of sodas, which were available in 12-count packs. So 12 cases, 900 of those cases were removed. You know, America loved them some Coke, especially the Northern Kingdom. But yeah, man, there's an attack on the American food supply that's going to lead to the worst famine in American history. So this is again Ezekiel 5 and 16, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction. This is happening right now, which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and I will break your staff of bread. It's happening. And you know, remember Esau during the pandemic, he was paying farmers to dump their milk. He was paying farmers to slaughter their cows and slaughter their pigs. So you can speculate that Esau is paying these companies that's experiencing these recalls. He's probably paying them to take their food off the shelves. Because when you read them recalls, one thing that I noticed just now is it say that these companies voluntarily removed certain products off the shelves. Not because somebody got sick, not because a number of people got sick. They just magically discovered something was wrong with a item after it was in the store already. So how they discovered plastic and glass in the food after it was at the store, I don't know. But they voluntarily taking the stuff off the shelves because they're getting paid off to do it. We know how Esau operate now. So we also gonna get the book of Psalms chapter 17 verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked. Who is the wicked? That's Malachi 1 and 4. Esau, Edom, Mount Seir, the so-called white man, which is thy sword. Who's the sword of the Most High? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Why? Because his blessing is the sword. Now, let's go there real quick. Let's show Esau, Edom's blessing. Let's show that he's the sword. Let's put a name to it for any new believers. So we're going to start at the book of Genesis 27 and 38. Straight to the point. Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwellings shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Same as Jacob, which we come from Jacob. Jacob will have a time to rule. Esau will have a time to rule. But this is where it differs. Let's go to the rest of Esau's blessing. And by thy sword shalt thou live. But ultimately, Esau shall what? Shall serve his brother, going into the kingdom of heaven. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. But ultimately, for a period of time, Esau would live by the sword. That would be what? His weaponry, his military, how he can take peace from the earth, how he can wage war against your food supply, the water supply. He's the sword. And so what? The Lord is cutting off the food supply. Yes, Esau, but ultimately it's the will of the Lord according to prophecy. And how would the Lord cut off the food supply? It would be by the sword. Yeah. Like, for example, in an ancient world, you might go burn down your enemy's farmland. You might go in the middle of the night and chop down their entire farm with a machete. Well, the Lord is doing that with Esau. And how it plays out today, Esau is not chopping down nobody's farm. and burning down farmland, although that has happened with the wildfires, but it's a wildfire with the salmonella. It's a wildfire with the listeria. Him cutting your farm down today, that's glass on the bread. That's plastic in the Coca-Colas. So the Lord is using his sword, Esau Edom the white man, to cut off the food supply in a modern sense. And that's why Yahweh Shah spoke of famines. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, race wars, silver wars, world wars. There shall be famines. That don't get enough play in the American Christian community when it comes to prophecy. Everybody focuses on wars and rumors of wars. What about these famines? And it's looking like we about to be experiencing these famines beginning of the summer. There should be famines, the evil arrows of famines to destroy you. The Lord shall increase the famine. And the famine is going to be a key factor in this great tribulation. The famine is going to have a major role in the judgments that the Lord is bringing to the earth. And pestilences, pandemics, outbreaks, diseases, illnesses. You know what else you could throw with the pestilence? Adverse medical reactions. Like from the JAB, the pestilence. That's going to have a major role in the Lord's judgment here at the end. It says, in earthquakes and in diverse places. But it said, well, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Yeah, the beginning of sorrows. And then we're going to get this straight to the point. Revelation chapter 6, verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death. So who is this Death? That represents Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Why? Because his blessing is a sword, to take peace from the earth, that people should kill one another. And then what Habakkuk 2 and 5 say? It said he is as death. So Esau is literally death in the flesh. And it says what? Hell follow him. That's Esau's, reign of terror across the earth. And it said what? Power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. That's America. America is the fourth part of the earth, where the fourth beast will be headquartered at. The fourth part of the earth for the fourth beast. The red dragon with the iron teeth. It says to kill with sword. We know it's going to be a great slaughter here in America. It says, and with hunger. So the sword and the famine. Now we see why it makes sense. Well, it makes sense to us now. We know what the Lord meant when he talked about famines. We know what this means, or we understand why the scriptures say he's going to kill with sword. That's evident. But it says with hunger. It says, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. But see, it's going to be it's show you how much of a devil Esau is. But let me get the next one real quick. Let me tell you how much of a devil Esau is. And it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Suddenly they're going to be empty. Why? Because there's no more incoming cargo ships to America. So the shelves are not going to be replenished. Food is actively being taken from the shelves every day for no real reason. All these food recalls, ain't nobody in the hospital. So they taking food off the shelves. There's no incoming cargo ships, and then people going to panic buy. So the store's going to go empty really in less than 24 hours. once people realize what's going on. And then when people be panic buying, what's gonna happen when we jump down to verse 24? And at that time, shall friends fight one against another like enemies. They could be fighting at home. They could be fighting on the way to the stove. They can be fighting at the stove. It says, "And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein." So those outside of this truth. And the springs of the fountains shall stand still. That's the running water. A water standing still, that means no running water. And in 3 hours they shall not run. See? But say how much of a devil Esau is, going into the blackout, the cyber attacks. America not gonna have no food. A lot of your food gonna spoil you. People gonna be robbing and stealing from each other. But you know who gonna have some food? Esau and his military. See, when the enemy come in like a flood, hey, we speaking for you Americans gonna be hungry. You're gonna be in the middle of a long fast, going without food, going without water. But when the enemy come in like a flood, the military police, the UN troops, they're gonna be well fed and well hydrated. They're gonna be at full strength. While you Americans may be at 50% or less. But yeah, Esau about to starve you people out, yet his soldiers, they gonna be eating. That's why I think they taking the food off the shelves, to starve you people out so they can feed their troops. Their troops gonna be fed, hydrated, strength at 140%. And you Americans gonna be faint, confused, because America don't know how to go without food. So it's really gonna make America easy for the taking. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey, just a weekly food report on the growing famine, the growing food crisis, the evil arrows of famine, showing how the food supply is being attacked right under the eyes of you Americans. But Lord willing, that was informative. Till next time, Shalom.